there is great misunderstanding regarding that pure science called Tantra. As you rightly said, many people associate it with sex, and many manuals, many books, you know, when they talk about Tantra, you see men and women embrace, you know, in sexual position. Now, let me explain it very clearly. You know, the word Tan means body, and the word Tra means transcending. So Tantra means transcending the body. But if I say transcending the body to a person, to a lay person who doesn't have any knowledge about spirituality, that wouldn't mean much. So the word Tantra refers to a science, and Tantra is the most scientific way to transcend body consciousness to attain soul consciousness. For example, you have anger. Generally, people consider anger as something which is evil, something which is bad. But Tantra says no. Tantra says anger is a possibility. Tantra says anger is energy in a crude state, and it can be transformed. But you don't have to suppress it. You don't have to recite any mantra, to do any therapy. You simply have to accept it as it is, totally. And once you accept it, but you have to accept it with full awareness, that it gets transformed. And when anger gets transformed, it becomes pure energy. It can become love. It can become forgiveness. It can become more consciousness. So you see, so Tantra says that as you are, just be like this. But you have to understand that what nature gives you, and what you can do is what nature gives you is another thing. For example, nature gives you sexual energy. One possibility is procreation, but the science of Tantra says that it is possible to use the sexual energy to fuel your consciousness so that you can attain cosmic consciousness. Now, as opposed to yoga, which says you have to suppress, if you have anger, you have to suppress your anger, but you have to suppress it with awareness. Then only you can transform it. You have to suppress your sexual desire with awareness, then you can transform it. Or you have to suppress your other lower traits, like for example greed, lust, hatred, jealousy. You don't have to express them. But Tantra says you can express them, but express it with full awareness, but be very conscious, otherwise you get carried away. So Tantra is a pure science insofar that it doesn't teach us to suppress anything. You don't have morality in Tantra, but Tantra certainly lay emphasis on the fact that you need to change. If you stay natural as you are, then you become wild, then you get carried away, then you get into trouble, and you create trouble for everyone. So Tantra means transcendence. Transcend body consciousness, transcend the mind, transcend the emotions, transcend all the lower traits, so that this energy is transformed into pure consciousness. It is transformed into pure light. Tantra says that in your emotions, in the impressions of your mind, in all the subtle particles of your body, light is concealed, pure light. And if you can, through awareness, transcend all those traits, which people call negative traits like greed, anger, lust, hatred, jealousy, if you can transcend them, then you will be full with light. Thus the word enlightenment. So what happens if you are able to transform a great amount of your negative traits, greed, anger, lust, I have mentioned earlier, then what happens, you can also transcend your lower self, you can transcend your ego, which means that that notion which cuts you off from the whole nature, which cuts you off from existence. So you see, a lot of practices are done in the name of Tantra, you know, and many people who are not enlightened, who are not even spiritual, they go from India or they read from books and they start teaching or practicing Tantra. This is wrong. The science has to be understood first. And as I say, it is a science because it doesn't depend on any belief. You don't have to follow any morality. You simply have to understand that what nature has given you, it can be, you can go beyond what nature has given you. But that is a knowledge which escapes many people, you know. But very unfortunately, it is misused, you know. While in fact, Tantra is a very natural science, and it is the most natural way to transform the mind. The mind, you cannot control the mind, for example. You have to understand the mind, just become fully aware of it. You cannot control your behavior. Yoga will tell you, control your behavior. Don't do this, do that. But Tantra will say, no, don't control anything. Understand. Become conscious. What is happening to you? Every move that you make in life, every step that you make in life, every gesture that you make can be transformed. Because nature says that every gesture that you make from morning to evening, from birth to death, are indeed very natural. But you can also transform them. Because your gestures, your way of life, your style of living, whatever you do in life, whether it is your dream, whether it is your work, whether it is your wedding, whether it is your sex, whether it is the way you eat, all of these are a consequence of your state of consciousness, of your level of consciousness, of your mind as it is.